Good evening, I'm Suffolk Graham.
Yes.
Welcome to episode 257, also known as Christmas 2024 Van Nerd Special. Oh, Skazz flinching there because he loves Christmas so much. He loves it so much.
Fuck Christmas.
Yeah. Hey, you know what Christmas means? Means the meat man arrives.
Oh, there you go. Good job. Can't wait for a man to turn up on my doorstep.
With a load of his meat.
Yeah, mate. He whips out his meat and I'm like, oh, yeah.
That's a mighty sausage you've got there.
Oh, I can't wait, Gov.
Oh,
Can't wait to get that one in
yeah,
me.
mate. Oh, yeah, my love for that meat. All that gorgeous meat. Yeah. Yeah, mate.
Good times.
Yeah, mate.
It's anything to look forward to every year. Like, I don't give a shit about the rest of the year.
No, but just once a year, Ram arrives on Skazz's door with a big box of meat.
Once every year, I take a load of meat from him.
I hand it to him. He carries it through, and he only just fits all that meat, and there's a big issue of it may not be able to contain it. It all splurts out, and all that pork sausage goes everywhere.
Again, best day of the year.
Yeah, indeed. So I hope you're feeling very festive this evening. Christmas is only a weekish away. Yes.
I don't remember what day it is, mate. I just know podcasts happen. Then I think I'm done for the year up until Christmas.
Well, of
and
course,
then,
guys. You know today's the 19th of December. You know this.
Well, I don't know, mate, 'cause I'm not looking at my calendar.
Today's the 19th of December, which means Christmas is less than a week away.
I've been waiting for this year to end since like the 9th of January.
Oh, it's all right. A couple of weeks' time, and the year ends.
Praise the Lord.
We start 2025.
Oh, here we go again.
You think how nice 2025 is? You can divide it by 25 and 5.
Wonderful.
See? There you go. I'm glad that makes you feel better about the whole situation.
Highlight, mate. There you go.
Highlight, mate. Yes, so it's our Christmas special once again. Hope you're all enjoying. Hope you're getting ready for that festive time of year. Hope you've enjoyed the start of our Christmas special games night, which started 2 days ago. Hope you enjoy watching those.
Look, I know we're thick. Stop emailing.
I've just like closed the folder down. You know how like you put a little bit of black tape over an engine management light so you don't have to worry about it anymore? I've just switched off the notification messages from that folder, so I just don't need them now about them anymore.
Nah, mate, it's gone. Just shut down the server. No one needs it. Nah,
No,
can't have it.
No, we won't worry about that anymore. It's all gone. It's all gone to the ether. It's fine. It's fine.
And I said you could like we're thick. I didn't say anything about don't give me your life story. I don't need your autobiography.
This is not a recipe blog.
You know, we weren't looking to like, no unsolicited material, motherfuckers. Do I look like a publisher?
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, no.
So you didn't have to. Like seriously, man, some of those massive. I mean, I they're more text heavy than the fucking Bible, son.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I am 1% behind you on that one.
Bless them.
So,
I mean, thank you for the time, but
yeah, thank you very much we appreciate your dedication. Just please stop. Please. Please, no more kicking. Right, so let's kick off. I'm just going to talk about a game I've been playing, and then we're going to go on to our Gamers of the Year. So I've been playing a little game called Citizen Sleeper. It's a light RPG, sort of like almost like a sort of visual sort of thing, sort of game. It's really interesting little game. It's set on this space station called the Eye, and you are a sleeper. And what you are is like it's a bit cyberpunk. It's a cyberpunk sort of game, and this space station is like sort of the far flungs of the galaxy, the sort of like this explored galaxy, as it were, or universe. And you are these people. It's not quite clear how people can basically pay or earn a lot of money by basically allowing, because AI is not allowed in this world, AI is illegal. So people instead, but to get around this, what this company does is it basically hires people to copy their consciousness and use that like an emulated consciousness, like in like a cyborg body, as a way to bypass the sort of loophole around the rules about AI. But whilst it's saying that your person you copy from is asleep in one of their cryopods back at base. That's why you're called a sleeper. You are an emulated conscious of a real person installed on a cyber body, and you're treated like your property. Yeah, they just because you're just another bit of property, so you're sent to like do like dangerous tasks and mining stuff, and obviously because you saw your normal mind, you tend to go a bit rogue, and you've gone.
I was going to say that'd be terrifying.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you're going to die, but you can't die. But that consciousness itself is going to die.
Yeah, yeah. But people
in a sense,
people don't worry about because they don't know what's happening. They're conscious of what's all going on, and they just like go to sleep, wake up, and they found that their copy's gone off somewhere and been mining stuff. It's implied you don't remember everything about your previous life. You don't have really that many memories of it, so you sort of know where you've come from, but you don't know like all the background where you've come from. So it's not like you are all your memories, all your thoughts, all your feelings in your previous life. It's not like that. It's more like they've sort of copied the consciousness so it can actually run.
So you don't remember that one time that you really regret where you murdered 15 people in a car park?
No, you don't.
Okay.
No, you don't. How did you know about that?
Like Tom Cruise, mate. I was there.
But yeah, you've gone rogue. You escaped from where you were, and you found yourself in the space station, which is basically running down. And your basic goal is just to live, just to survive, because your body basically, then the parts of your body is like gets rejected. Because it's all a cyborg, the inner parts like reject each other, like an immune system response. So you have to begin this thing called a stabilizer, which keeps your body functioning and basically restores your condition so you can keep living, keep going. If you don't get stabilizer, you will eventually just shut down and die. You also need to eat, because again, you are partly biological. So you still need to eat food, you still need to drink and everything, taking nutrients. And these will have an effect on how the game works. And you're playing like the whole space station is like a very rundown. Even like the bigger corporations, you don't really sort of think you're sort of like rubbing shoulders with white, blue collar workers. You're rubbing shoulders with like people building spaceships, people just scrapping stuff, people just sort of eking out a living on the station. You are living amongst them and having to like earn your own keep. Also trying to find stabilizer, trying to earn money because you have no money at the start of the game, but you need money to buy stabilizer, you need to buy food, so you're having to like work, get a job, doing like sort of menial labor stuff just to sort of keep yourself going whilst also keeping undercover. The trouble is you've got a tracker built in, so your company knows where you are, the company, and they will sending people after you. So your ultimate goal in this game is to escape, get out of their reaches, find a way to be free of them, so you don't have to deal with them anymore. There are three ways to
Blade
do
Runner-y.
Yeah, actually, yes. It's like Blade Runner, but you are the replicant. People know who you are, though it's not like you look like a human. You are quite clearly a robot cyborg thing. It's quite obvious what you are. People all know what you are. They all know because they all call you asleep and they know exactly what you're doing. But most people just don't really care. Or if they do, they are sympathetic, or they just sort of don't really consider you worth worrying about. There are also a few like bounty hunter type people who are trying to find you, but they are more contracted stuff. So you're just, but you are basically right. You are a replicant basically trying to escape the Blade Runners and get away from, and basically form a new life. So and it actually does a really nice job of sort of giving that sort of feeling, because you never deal with anyone sort of high up. You never deal, because a lot of these games you'll like start off with like in the slums and work your way to like the top. It doesn't really happen in this game. You're always in the slums with people, and how you help these people along and how it affects time. So let's talk about the gameplay, because that'll probably sort of tell us how this all works. So the game is set into cycles. A cycle's a day, effectively. And you, at the start of the game, at the start of every cycle, you will roll a number of action dice from 1 to 5 action dice. And they're normal 6-sided dice. You'll get a value between 1 and 6. And you start the game with these dice. So start every cycle, these dice rolled. How many dice you roll depending on your conditions. So how the game looks is you have like a bar of like the 5 dice slots. Above that is another bar which shows your condition, which decreases by a bit every day. Every cycle it goes down by like 1. And whilst that bar covers all 5 dice slots, you get 5 dice. Once that condition goes, so it's only covering 4, you only get 4 dice. Then only 3, then 2, then 1. And then you get down to 0. You also have an energy bar, which is food basically. That goes from 1 to 5. Every day you lose 2 energy. And energy is bad. If you run out of energy, instead of losing 1 condition per day, you lose 2. I think conditions start going max out at 20. I think. So you have like 20 cycles to use up. But if you have no food, you only have 10 cycles to get past. And obviously every day gets harder because you're getting less and less dice. Because those action dice, is how you do things in the space station. Pretty much everything you do relies on action dice to perform it. So the space station just comes, the screen will show you the space station like as a map, and there'll be little like circles which you can click on, which is where you can perform actions. So it's basically like a skill check. So you have skills as well. There's 5 skills. I can't remember what they all call off the top of my head, but they're sort of like your usual, like, you know, there's like a strength equivalent skill, like an endurance equivalent skill, and a sort of like one how you do Caputo's skill. And what these do is these are a plus or minus modifier to your dice. So your dice values directly represent a success possibility. So a 6 on a dice is 100% possible. You're guaranteed, whatever action you do, you are guaranteed you'll pass it 100% with 6 dice. A 5 dice is 50-50, neutral or positive. So it's still a good roll. You're going to get something nice. You may get something really good. A 3 or 4 is 25% positive chance, 50% neutral, or 25% negative. Negative is a bad result, a bad action, so forth. And a 1 or 2, 50% chance of neutral, 50% chance of negative. So there's no possibility of getting a positive roll on those. And like I say, your skills effectively add, your skill level goes from like -1 to +2, and it will modify the dice. So if you may like say, okay, well, this thing I want to do is not that important, and I've got a -1 to it. So if I put my 6 dice in it, it'll only go down to 5. So I've still got a really good chance of passing it. Or
Sure.
you might say, well, or you've got like a +2. Well, there's no point burning a 6 on this one. I just put 4 and it becomes a 6, and then I have all the restorative rolls with it. And these actions are, and I'll show you how the actions work in a second. In addition to like each skill roll, there's also what they call a riskiness to them. So skills are either safe, risky, or dangerous. A safe skill, you don't have to worry about it. Get a positive, neutral, or negative value, doesn't matter. Yes, you'll get the negative consequence, but you won't get punished for it. A risky one, if you get neutral, you're fine, or positive, you're fine, you'll get the good benefits. If you get a negative result on a dice roll, you will lose money or you'll lose energy, your food resource. If you've one that's dangerous, if you get a negative result, you'll lose your condition, and if you get neutral, you'll lose money or energy. So these sort of independently tie into the skills stuff. So you want to sort of manage what sort of dice roll you're putting in, as well as so these actions will range from just doing some work. So taking a shift at the local bar, put an action dice in. How well that dice gives you will tell you a chance of how much you'll get paid. You might get paid 15 credits if you do well, maybe only get 10. That's a fairly safe one to do. Basically, it's where you're earning a little bit of money. But some skills will have what they call clocks. So these will be literally looks like a clock, like a circle, and it'll be split into segments. Some of them they go those like 2 segments, some have like 10, 15 segments, maybe more. And as you complete and pass skills rolls, you'll fill this clock up. And if you task, so like for example, if you pass a skill check positively, you may put 3 blocks into this clock. If you pass it neutrally, you may put 1. If you pass it with negative, nothing will happen. Some clocks will even have, there'll be some negative clocks as well, where if you get a negative result, it'll go into that instead. For example, there's a bit where you have to help repair a ship, and you'll take a shift repairing the ship. If you get a positive result, it adds to the positive clock. There's also like a negative clock that's got like 3 slots in it. If you have 3 negative results, you get kicked off from repairing the ship because you keep fucking up, basically. So they kick you off, they fire you. So there are positive and negative results. And as you unlock these clocks, these will then unlock events which will progress the various stories. There's no sort of like there's not really a main plot line in this. Instead, there's like lots of little side plots that all will eventually get you out somehow if you follow them through or unlock something. There's not like the central's all like storyline. It's just you need to survive and get out. That's all there is. There's no main quest line. Because you also have these things called drives, which are like your quests, and you'll pick these drives up. The first drive you get is like survive, which is like find some way to get hold of stabilizer so you don't die. Which you have to sort of like once you complete it, you'll then complete the quest. So once clock's complete, you unlock events. You may also unlock locations. So you advance a plot line. If you get negative clocks fill up, you also unlock locations and stuff. So they put like some clocks will also fill up by cycles instead. So rather than you doing something to fill it up, they're effectively a timer. Most of the times, though, they are just once they fill up, they're ready to go. But you can then sort of play them immediately. But you have to sort of play them before the cycle ends. You can't enter the cycle with a completed clock. You have to sort of like literally little cutscene and stuff. And they're all very nice and straightforward. They're all quite fun. You can like sort of like you might help like a chef by collecting mushrooms because some actions require items. So perhaps you'll like get some mushrooms for a chef so he can like make a better quality food and stuff. You might help like get some parts to rebuild someone's ship who wants help, for example. Usually to get those items, you need to do actions to get either money to buy them or to get the items in the first place. So it's very straightforward. It's a very simple system, but it's got a nice sort of complexity to it where you have to sort of plan what you're doing. And you have to plan your day because when you start, the dice you roll, they've all you got. You don't roll them out whole. You basically get assigned them. So you can sort of go, well, I've got 6 dice. I've got a 2, 2, the 4, and a 6. Well, the 6, this is one I really want to advance. I'll put the 6 there, so I guarantee I'm going to advance it. The 2s, well, I'll just take a couple of shifts at the bar doing those because I don't really mind if I get I'll still get money no matter what, but I won't suffer if it's a negative consequence. So they're worth doing for that. So you have to plan it out a little bit. You can as part of your doing sort of like these drives and stuff, you get points that you can upgrade your character and you can upgrade skills. And one of the most skills I upgraded really early on was the one that unlocked it so I could once a cycle re-roll the dice I've got. What's nice about that is it only re-rolls what you've still got left. So if you start with a 1, 2, and a 5 and a 6, you can use the 5 and the 6.
Use the 5 and the 6 and then re-roll.
Yes,
that's pretty
exactly.
Neat.
That's really that works really well. It's not like you've decided at the start. So that's like if you're going to get a skill early on, get that one because that saved me an awful lot. Really nice. But yeah, it's a really nice, straightforward, leisurely game. Quite a sort of sad story, really, because you are this character who's basically just trying to survive. The game's got, is it 10 or 8 endings? I think it's 8 endings. Although, admittedly, a lot of those are like variations on the same theme. So, like, you go somewhere with someone or without them. That's 2 endings. It's a lot bit like that. But so there's probably like sort of like overall like 3 main ways to get out. It's also got this little hacking mini game in it as well. So you'll basically because you are a cyborg, you can slip into like sort of this hacker space as it were, and you'll see little nodes. And how they work is when you click on them, it will tell you what dice value it needs to be hacked. And if you have that dice you can plus it in, you'll successfully hack it. As you get better in skills, that basically broadens the range. So let's say you need a 2. If you have like a +1 skill, you can do a 1 or 3 as well. So it broadens the dice you can put in, which makes it a bit easier. There's a bit of a complex for that though, because whilst you're doing that, there is another program that's hunting you, and every time you hack something, it gets a bit closer to finding you. And when it does find it, it's really creepy to find you. Artwork's beautiful. So overall, the ship itself is like spaceship is like meant to be quite vast and stuff. But when you get up to talk to someone, you'll get like a nice little bit of 2D character artwork. nothing's animated and that. It's just a picture, but it all looks really beautiful and nice, and really sort of evokes this. I want this like sort of not. It's comic book style, but like a more not a cartoony comic book, sort of more realistic style comic books, as I describe it.
Okay.
But works really well. And something really nice about helping a guy by babysitting his daughter for him, so he can go to work and potentially win a lottery to get on a spaceship to get out to safety. That's quite nice. And the game does punish if you there are ways you can fuck up. So in that storyline, the daughter, I completed a set of actions that basically lock that out, and there's what the save is also saved. There's no going back, and so I was like, oh, I've basically screwed up his chances of like a better life because I just didn't babysit his daughter enough. I fucked up.
Whoops.
Yeah, it's like I felt really guilty, so guilty after that. I was like, what do I do? But I'm like, I thought I was debating restarting the whole game, to be honest.
I was gonna say, would you suggest then if you find a storyline you like, stick to it, or
yeah,
okay.
and just pay a bit more attention when it tells you that this will cut out other. I imagine it probably would have done. If I'd read between the lines, it probably would have been clear, but I probably didn't pay between the lines. But
Yeah, sure.
yeah, it's a surprisingly atmospheric game, and feeling like I'm just sort of on the edge of survival, working under the table most places and stuff it's nice, and it's got sad moments, and it's like, for example, not babysitting a daughter enough and getting wrapped with guilt. It's enough, but it is so nice game. It's not a particularly long game. I think I finished it in about 7 hours, which is decent though. And it has got a lot of, there's a lot of stuff I didn't do. There are a couple of plot lines that I didn't complete. I basically got sort of the natural conclusion of one like possible path, and I unlocked a ending, and I could tell it was going to be an ending, and I could have just walked away. But once you walk away, it's gone. There's no like
Right.
you can I'll come back to this later. No, once you walk away, it's gone. So I saw like, actually, I think this isn't what it's offering would be freedom, and I think the freedom that would be good, because one of the other options available, which is sort of prioritized, I don't see that having a good ending. This one I found like offered a freedom, which I think your character would never really get, so I chose to do it, and I felt it was a nice, to me it was a nice ending, and I was quite happy. I was quite happy with the game. Credits roll, game ends. It's like, yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I'm quite happy with what I've
That'll
done there.
do.
Yeah, it was like that. I'm happy with what I've done. What I would say about the game is that I said you feel like you're living on the edge. Oops, sorry, microphone listeners. That does kind of run out quite quickly though, because the game. They obviously don't want you to get up getting screwed over really early on by running out of money. So really early on, you have no money, so you are like, okay, just earn just enough. Like, oh, a file stabilizer 100 credits. I earn like 15 credits doing this job, but it costs 10 credits to buy food, and I need to keep eating, otherwise I'll get quicker. So you do feel like you're having to like really balance stuff early on, but quite quickly you'll get jobs that'll pay you like 100 credits, which actually really quite early on was pretty. By the time the game ended, I had like 600 credits in the bank, so I was sorted. I was actually quite good for quite some time. So that sort of worry over food sort of disappeared quite early on. You still need to do it because you still need to pick the bar. So you still need to spend each cycle or each couple cycles doing some work, either like go and make some noodles for somebody to earn some food, or go steal some food from somewhere so you can get like sort of easy stuff and stuff. You can go do that as well. There's like a little commune you can go join, which will, like, if you work for them, they'll give you food as well. So there are ways to be. There's a cat. There's a cat you can feed as a stray. As far as I can tell, it doesn't do anything. It's a peaceful
See, but
accident.
you don't know because that's often the case. That's like, oh yeah, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. But if you do it about 500 times, it triggers that one event that no one else has seen.
Yeah. I mean, the ending I got. I mean, I don't think a lot of people have played this to the end, but the ending I got was I was in top 10%. I always look at the achievements, and I was 10%. Only 9.9 people got the ending I got.
Yeah,
But I don't feel a lot of people necessarily got that far to the end of the game. Truth be honest,
sure.
But
Did it have the not standard, but did it have like story progression achievements so you could see where people starting to drop off, or was
no,
it just
it's
literally
more
a
like
you've unlocked this ending?
there's no sort of like main story that goes through. There's sort of like there is. I'm going to go back slightly on that. There is sort of a main plot line, because quite early on, after a couple of cycles, you'll get a message saying you'll get a message. You'll get like you have like a dream that someone's tracked you, and basically you've detected that you're being tracked by somebody, and your time will come saying you are being hunted. And this timer rolls around. When it gets to the end, something will happen, and that basically will then set another time that goes off. But I actually like where it gets. There's only like sort of like three of these like timers, and then like the game is at that point you're free, as it were, and just to do what you want. And I got through those very quickly, probably within like before I was halfway through. I got basically ended the main story, as it were. Not really much main story, but I had ended the game because there's no.
Yeah.
Yeah, the story just like leaves you on the space station, but always the threat that somebody's going to come find you. But very neat little game. There's a Citizen Super 2 going to be coming out at some point. Um, but yeah, it was a really enjoyable little neat little game. I think it'd be an ideal like sort of like iPad game actually, something like that, because you don't need much to play it with. There's mouse and keyboard will
Yeah.
do, and an iPad game would be ideal. So I think that'd be a real. Oh yeah, so I think it'd be a great little fun little game. So heartily recommend Citizen Sleeper. I was picked up and very much enjoyed it.
Cool.
Cool. Well then, Skazz, you know what time of year it is?
The end of it.
Yeah. Which means it's time for Rand Nerds Game of the Year 2024. Take it away, Skazz.
Oh, mate, me?
Yeah, because I've been talking for 25 minutes. I need to
You
lubricate my
need a chance
throat.
to chill out. Okay, cool. So, Rand Nerds Game of the Year works in a really kind of. It's not games released this year necessarily. It's games that we've played for the first time this year, or would we say properly dived into this year?
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
It's our
Yeah,
Game of the Year, not the game that was been released this year.
yeah, because games that have come out this year mostly suck. Uh, although that actually doesn't make sense when I tell you what my game of the year is. But it's been a bit of a ropey one for me because I haven't played a huge number of games, but some of the games that I have played were absolutely fantastic. And I was worried at one point. I was like, I don't think I've got one. I don't think I've got one. Like all the games that I could remember, I was like, did I play that last year? Was that this year? Like it's all kind of squidged because everything's changed this year. But the options that I have, all right, and I'm gonna pick one, but I want you to play all three. To be honest with you, because it was just you could have picked anyone and they were absolutely fantastic. Scarlet Nexus, Granblue Fantasy, is it Relink? Is it Relink versus is the fighting game? Relink is the RPG. Oh my god, amazing, beautiful, beautiful RPG, and it had to be on the list because it came out this year. It's been out for like the last couple of weeks. East 10 Nordics, the latest game in the East series. And it wasn't as it's not as cut and dry as you think. Not as cut and dry as you think. Scarlet Nexus was a beautiful, absolutely beautiful anime action RPG. Beautiful graphics, amazing soundtrack. All right, the story was a wee bit predictable. We pulled the theming of it very, 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 very quickly. We got
Yeah.
to the root of what the story was about very, very, very
But
quickly.
that doesn't
But
necessarily matter. If the storyline is predictable, but it's a good overall storyline flows well, it
well,
doesn't
and that
matter.
was it because usually if I start predicting things pretty early on, it's like, dude, it's not gonna do it for me. It's not gonna hold my attention. But Scarlet Nexus was, oh my god, dude, it was absolutely amazing. I don't want to bang on about the story. There's an entire podcast that we did about Scarlet Nexus, I think.
Yeah,
I
you
was
did.
back on
Yeah,
the podcast by that point.
you were. Yeah,
Absolute belter of a game. You can get it on console. I don't know if you can get it on Switch, but I know you can get it on PlayStation. I think you can get it on Xbox. You can definitely get it on PC. I played it through on Steam Deck. It was so good. I mean, if you could bump them graphics up, that game looks beautiful. Again, sound. I mean, I sometimes just walk around listening to the soundtrack. It is that good. Um, and it's also had an anime tie-in that I still haven't had the chance to watch, but so fun. So fun. Um, basically copy and paste exactly what I just said for Granblue Fantasy. Um, gorgeous anime RPG, phenomenal soundtrack. Scarlet Nexus is more cyberpunky future kind of thing, like you're in cities and stuff like that. Whereas Granblue is very much look, so we've gone from sci-fi to fantasy, big dragons, you know, big old boats or sky boats that are like blimps on top of a ship. You know, your big ass like galleon flies or whatever. Um, phenomenal soundtrack. Both games have amazing fast combat. So it's not like, turn-based stuff. You're literally going in there, mashing them buttons, getting your big combo strings and stuff. I put hours and hours and hours into both of those games. So good. Again, I think I was back on the podcast again for No, I might not have been for Granblue.
I don't recall us ever discussing Granblue.
No, but
It's not on the list of games that I sent over to you,
it,
which is
it would have
the
it would have been very very early in the year.
yeah.
Then very early in the year, I played that one.
That list got pulled from
Um,
all the podcast titles, so
oh sure, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not going to explain a huge amount of it. Just action RPG, gorgeous graphics, gorgeous soundtrack, ties into a mobile game and a fighting game. Fighting game is Granblue Fantasy Versus. Then you've got Granblue Fantasy, the mobile game, and then Relink is your kind of very pretty action RPG style thing. And I mean, you can easily put in 40 hours into Granblue and Scarlet. And then obviously East 10. East 10 follows, and I've already just spoken about East 10. Largely the same action RPG. So notice how all my top three this year are action RPGs. And by action RPG, I mean you're not sat in a menu clicking like fight, magic, whatever. You've got button combinations to trigger skills, you know, singular attacks, combos for magic and all that kind of stuff. East 10 changed the mechanics of the East series that we've had since East 7. East 7 is a PSP game. That's how old that game is, or how old this kind of running mechanics is, how it's developed. Would you be surprised if I told you initially I didn't like East 10?
yes and no.
Right. Okay. Why no?
um, because I know you love these games that pull you through, but yes, at the same time, I'm not surprised you wouldn't like it because I know you've had a lot of games where they change mechanics. You don't
Yeah.
particularly like it when the mechanics get changed. I know you
Yeah.
weren't too keen on the new Monster Hunters, for example, when they
Yeah.
really changed the mechanics worked, and I can understand why. But I know how much you love the Yeast series of games, and I think they'd pull you through.
So yeah, well, so I kept going. This one takes place it's after East 2, so you don't have to worry a huge amount about having played prior East games. Because as I said, East 1, East 2, they're effectively the same game. You have to play both of them to get the full story. Because 2 takes place directly after East 1. They are literally continuations from one another. If you play them on the PC engine, the only way you can play it is to go 1, 2. Whereas on other consoles, you got like a cartridge or a disc. Cartridge 1, cartridge 2, and you could play them in whatever order you wanted. But it takes place directly after East 2, so you don't have to worry about all the references and stuff. It seems to be the place where Adol gets his nickname Adol the Red. There's ship combat in it. fucking how Adol spends any period of time on a boat, I will never fucking know. Because anytime the guy goes anywhere near a fucking boat, it sinks. But this game has a shit ton of ship combat in it.
Did he by
Um,
chance take a transatlantic trip in the 1912?
yeah, pretty much. Like he was the guy that was supposed to be on lookout for the iceberg.
Yeah.
But no, it's bizarre because there are so many things in it that mechanically are old East. So, like I said, all the other games have button combos to trigger certain skills and stuff. It still has those. You still have the perfect guard mechanic. You still have um, kind of largely the same styles of skills that you had before. Movement is largely the same, but then prior East games have had rock, paper, scissors. So, enemies have the rock, paper, scissors type. Certain characters in your party will have a rock, paper, scissors type, and you have to put the opposing type against one another, otherwise, to get increased damage. Everyone has a shared resource bar in those games too, so you're not forced to change character up too much. In East 10, though, there's two characters. Just two. Your party is just two people. And there is no type per se. And they have their own unique resources. So you have to rotate them to continue combos and to regen, because resources regen faster when you change, and it just fucking threw me off for ages. Like when I first played the game in Japanese, I didn't find it too bad, but for some reason I don't know what it is, but recently I've really struggled to keep up with game mechanics, and it just really threw me off, and I was terrified I was going to bounce off of it. But then there's this one scene happens in the game. I won't say what it is. There's a whale. This whale appears, this thing happens, and I was like, all of a sudden it clicked. And at that point, my characters were strong enough to actually kind of negate some of the negatives of the way they changed the mechanics. So like I kind of how sometimes games start and your stats are like that's quite punishing because your
Yeah.
stats are really low, you're really weak. And then once you get past a certain like Cyberpunk did that. You start off and you get shot by a guy like a really weak peasanty guy, you get shot and all of a sudden you're fucking reeling and running
Yeah.
for cover. But then later on, as your stats go
You're a
up,
tank.
you can absorb a few hits, you can just fucking get in there and just have a right old whale of a time. You're not as focused on mechanics,
Yeah.
which I know is funny because I always bitch about how games don't force mechanics enough, or that mechanics are shite. Um, Once you get past that kind of initial hump, though, once you get rid of that old muscle memory and get into it, my fucking god, that game is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I easily put in, I think I haven't finished it yet, but I think I put in like 20, nearly 30 hours. No, there was no challenge on that. I just sat there and I was absorbed. I just wanted to keep going. Um, Totally worth picking up. It doesn't really matter what version of the game you pick up, but get it. That East 10 Nordics is my game of the year, but it was it could have gone to Scarlet Nexus or Granblue. If you get the option to play all three, please fucking do. They are fantastic games.
Cool.
Phenomenal games. Um, you'll probably go if anyone plays these, tend to go, you know what? I don't really fancy this. I want something a bit kind of, I want something sci-fi. Scarlet Nexus. I want something with more characters in it. I don't like the ship combat or whatever. Go in for Granblue. You want something longer. You want something with better graphics or whatever. Go for Granblue. They're all phenomenal games. It was so close. But East 10 wins it really by virtue of being an East game.
Oh, fantastic. Any honourable mentions at all?
um, if I had to be honest with you, man, I'd just say just take Scarlet Nexus, and I will actually Nidhogg.
Yeah, that's a good
Nidhogg was
shout.
fucking
Yeah.
fantastic. I kind of the amount of squealing we did when we played that game was pretty fucking good. Um,
That'd be a great couch game, I think.
yeah, my God, that game is fun. Stuff I didn't like this year. Right, Hi-Fi Rush was fun, but quite overrated. To be honest, once you got into the rhythm. Um, what was one of the other ones you put on there? Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. That was long-winded as fuck. Like really, it was a good game, but just after a period, you're like, "Am I doing this again and again and again?" You're like, it's a little, it got a little bit. Dawn of War. I've played Dawn of War when we were back in college. But that was one of the games we played this year. My fucking god, what a terrible.
Mainly because it didn't work, to be fair.
Yeah, without modding it and that, and I completely forgot how much I hated the voice actors. I couldn't believe how I completely forgot how much I hated the dialogue. But now we played some proper belters this year,
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, honorable mentions would have to be Scarlet Nexus and fucking um Granblue with Nidhogg for the just sitting there with your mates, fucking shitting yourselves, laughing and
Yeah.
screaming, and just
Yeah.
great games.
Great games.
There are good games out there. You just have to look for them.
That's true.
What about yourself, mate?
Right.
I have a feeling I know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
it voxel based and is it in space?
well, you are correct. It is the Callisto Protocol.
Fucking cheeky git.
So yeah. So I've played. I was looking for my list actually. There's quite a few games I've played that I've really had a good time with this year.
Yeah.
I'll go for some honorable mentions first, so I get to my sort of the three that were vying for the game of the year. Nidhogg was going to be one of my honorable mentions as well.
Great game.
XCOM 2, great gun. Blood Bowl 2, really good game.
Oh, mate, Blood Bowl 2 is phenomenal.
Yeah. It's all great, a very well built game, but Builder Simulator, for just be able to construct things is quite fun because you can like design a building and then build it. That's quite fun. What else have I got on my list there of sort of things? Just talk about Sleepers Inn. Sleepers Inn. That's a nice little throw-in game there. I quite enjoyed. Games that didn't really dire was like Crystal Protocol. XCOM the Bureau was really bad.
Oh mate, yeah. I when you said XCOM, I was like, oh, please tell me he's not actually saying that as an honorable mention. And I was like, no, he's not going to. And then he said XCOM 2. I was like, thank fuck.
Yeah, XCOM the Brew was so badly designed. But overall, there haven't been many games I've played with gone, oh fuck, I've bounced off or hated this year. To be fair, but my top three, and they're all actually I'm quite pleased. All quite a bit like yours. They're all quite different games. My top three are System Shock, which I did play on the first of January. I checked, so it counts.
Oh, there you go. Oh wait, you played Did you play the new
Remaster,
one? You played Did you?
Yes. I suppose you wouldn't have been podcast at that point. Yeah, I replayed the
No.
remaster.
Oh wow. Fuck mate.
Yeah, I played it over Christmas last year. I finished it on New Year's Day, so it counts. Remaster System Shock, a game called The Forgotten City, and Empyrion Galactic Survival. These are sort of my sort of top three. That's all jumped. As soon as I looked at the list, they just jumped out at me like, oh yeah, I had a really good time with these. System Shock Remaster is a remaster done properly. They've not like thrown the whole game out, just sort of like kept the beats. They have like recreated the levels as they were in the original game. They've got the original voice actress back to re-record the dialogue. They've made the game, even though the game is like looks modern, they've done a lot of things like they've made like the computer screen still look quite pixelated stuff to make them feel. It feels like playing an old game with a new engine, with a new lick of paint.
Yeah, and it really does look like a new lick of paint. My fucking god.
Yeah,
if you've ever played the original System Shock one, my god.
Yeah, it's really well done. I love they basically have just mirrored it magically. They've not put anything easy. It's so old school in the fact that the game doesn't tell you what to do per se. At the very start, you find out what you need to do to stop Showdown. I nearly called it GLaDOS.
Yeah, careful. Oh, I was going to say, yeah, but when you said about how they got the voice actress, and it's like, Showdown and GLaDOS are like they are iconic. They are fucking up there. Sends chills down your spine when all of a sudden you hear them talk. Oh shit! I'm about to get fucked up.
Yeah, who'd have fight between GLaDOS and Showdown? I suspect Showdown, to be honest, but GLaDOS would be snarky the whole way down.
Yeah, I'd give it to Showdown straight out. There's no two ways about it. If someone said to me I'm locked in a room with GLaDOS and Showdown, like if it's right, who you going to be locked in a room with? Testing chambers with fucking GLaDOS or fucking locked in a station with Showdown? It's like I think I've got more of a chance of surviving if I'm
We
hanging out with
know
GLaDOS.
cake
To be honest,
exists in Aperture Science World. We know that it does exist. So there's a possibility of it.
there is a chance that I will survive. But fucking hell, that
Yeah.
Showdown and have you in a heartbeat.
I like the way the game basically copied and pasted the original game and played it straight. So you get told early on what needs to be done, but there's no objective markers. It's just like you have to figure this out for yourself. You have to go to these places just to do these stuff, and you have to figure it out for yourself. Phenomenal game. It's a long game as well. It's decent length. I just played it for hours after hours, just all day, every day. I was playing that game. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Then there was the Forgotten City, which again you wouldn't have been around to discuss. Very interesting game. Started as a Skyrim mod,
All right.
but then after the mod got sort of really well received, it's a really good it's basically a modern quest line. After it got really good received, they decided to then redo the game as a whole separate thing. So they reshaped it. So the Forgotten City was a game where you find yourself stuck in this time loop in this city, and the rule is you can't steal from anybody, you can't hurt anybody. If you do, apocalypse happens, and if you don't get to there's like a portal that basically resets everything. If you don't get there in time, the game you finish. You have to get there every time, and you won't be able to complete it the first path through. You have to sort of learn stuff, but you can remember the cycles. No one else can.
Sure.
Really interesting concept. It's more of a sort of like RPG explore type game. There's no real. There's a little bit of combat in it, but not much. In general, it's all just walking around, talking to people, exploring things, and just trying to work out what's going on, and sort of like and you're basically solving a mystery, because you get started off, and the guy says to you like, okay, I can't remember how it starts. I think the guy says at some point someone's going to commit a crime that's going to cause the whole place to collapse. You need to figure out who it is, so we can stop them. Because basically the whole apocalypse happens, and everybody lives there like on this edge of, can we all survive? As long as no one does anything bad, we can all survive. Everybody's on this constant edge of everything just going to pot, because when it does go, everybody dies. So this guy basically admits that he knows something's going to happen. He knows he's got prophecy that someone's going to break it. You need to figure out who it is. So it's a sort of detective mystery game. You go around talking to people and solving problems, and it's great because what I love about it is because obviously the idea of having to okay, you solve these problems, and it's quite tedious to go around every single loop to do it. So they solve this. But at the very start of the game, you walk through and you meet a character who basically introduces himself to you and so forth. After you've solved a few things, when you meet him, you can say, look, I know who you are. Can you do me these favours for me? You give him this list of all stuff he needs to do. And he goes,
Oh, yeah, sure,
okay. And he runs off and starts doing it. But you can follow him, and you can actually hear him talk to people, and you'll follow him as he talks to everybody around and tells them what to do. Really well done. Really, there's so many little details in it. Fantastic little game. And it has and the ending, I will say, I got the really good ending, and it brought a tear to my eye. The ending is a really sort of nice ending. It brought a little tear to my eye.
A good game that came out of Skyrim, which is
A very good game, yeah.
Fucking
And
Skyrim.
then my final nomination is Empyrion Galactic Survival. And space survival game. You get to build spaceships. It's voxel based. You get to fly around in space. Skazz has seen my spaceship. I gave him the grand tour when he popped around mine.
I'm still a bit knocked that we didn't get to play that for the 24 hours.
I am tempted. I'm going to have another sort of proper. I do think part of it was seek to preparation. I am tempted to set a server up on my, because I've got a file server PC just sat there just saving files. Play a hard drive space. I'm tempted to set a dedicated server up on it. But yeah, the idea you could just sort of build everything and sort of live out your space fantasies. It was like someone looked at me and gone, we're going to make a game just for him. Exactly the sort of game he wants to play, we're going to make it. And they did, and it was fantastic and phenomenal. And it is my game of the year. I said to you right when I first posted this is going to be my game of the year. It's going to take an awful lot to knock this off the pedestal, and nothing I've played since has. System
Sure.
Shock was very close, very, very, very close. But I like the fact that the creativity. I mean, any game where you can build your own spaceship, like build whatever you want and take it.
I will be
fly in
honest, mate.
space.
Had I have known System Shock was going to be on that list, I'd have been, ooh, that'd be a close one.
It was very close. Yeah, it's very close. But it was very close between the two, and it probably helps that I spent a lot more time in Imperial Galactic Survival and have only really scratched the surface. Truthfully, I've put I must be getting close to 100 hours in that game.
Wow.
Barely scratched the surface of it, and
Wow.
yeah, it was basically all I thought. I had a holiday in August, and all I did was play this game. Well, for several weeks, it's the only thing I was playing. Because I was just like, I need to do this and stuff, and I just want to it's got a creative mode, so I want to sort of build sort of own little creative spaceships and stuff, which are quite cool. It's really good game, absolutely fabulous game. Like I say, I was really sad we couldn't get to give it a go on games night, but brilliant. Honestly, if you like the idea of a game where you can build your own spaceship, a survival game where you're surviving on planets, you start with nothing, you have to build, and you build this, you work your way all the way up to from nothing to a small base to going into Empyrion Galactic Survival. Brilliant game, and it's great. So that is my game of the year. I don't feel I've got any else sort of top fives and that. So yeah, it's really, really good. So yeah, game of the year.
Fantastic. I mean, to be honest with you, I'd have called both of them. Like mine and yours, they were kind of clear right off the bat. There's no two ways about it.
Well, I just think you were going to go with Yeast, to be honest, as your main game of the year.
Yeah, I mean the chances of bouncing were quite high, but then as I say, I managed to get past that little kind of stat ceiling, or that kind of that hump
Yeah.
where the mechanics they weren't meshing with me. And don't get me wrong, they're still not entirely clicking, but because my stats are a bit higher, although I have noticed in recent playthroughs of these games, I do have a tendency to blast my way through games pretty quickly where I end up under level by the time I get to where I'm supposed to be. So that could have largely been the case in East 10 for a while. That I was just under level.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And so I was getting steamrolled. But now I mean I will say, man, it's a lot harder than East 8. So I went through 8 and 9 again. 8 I don't remember being as hard as it was. 9, I remember it being harder than it was, and fucking 10, my god, I got steamrolled so fast. I was like, "Oh shit!" But it doesn't help that they've changed some of the buttons up too. So I'm like pressing jump when I mean to attack and all that. And it's like, "Oh no!" So, but
excellent.
yeah, I mean, it snuck through by virtue of being an East game, but it was so close,
Yeah,
so close.
yeah.
Very
Oh.
good games this year. Very good games.
Yeah, there have been some. I said I was looking through my list, and apart from a couple, everything I've played this year, I've actually really enjoyed.
Yeah.
There isn't a lot that jumps out as there's been some real crackers stuff I've played, and there's been some I look back and think, oh, that was some good memories around that game and stuff. So
Well, I just realized I think Alan Wake 2 came out this year, didn't it?
think you're right because we sat and we talked about we discussed Alan Wake 2 when we were having a coffee this
Yeah.
year. Yeah, I think you're right.
East 10 still wins it, by the way. That's not that's not me taking it back. Like East 10 still got it. But yeah, like even stuff like that, even the big boy stuff, just
Oh no, Alan Wake
I mean,
was
it was good.
2023.
Oh, did it?
October the
I think
27th, 2023. I still think you played it this year though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. But I mean, still, it didn't. It was good. It was good. But again, in Alan Wake, there were some parts in it that mechanically were just like so clunky, but a budget game from a Japanese developer just cruises on through and goes, "Yeah, mate, hold my beer."
Oh, that's excellent, excellent. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed hearing our games of the year.
Yeah, I'm
Did
glad you
you?
all sat through that.
Yeah.
How
Did
many
you?
of you guessed that Ram was going to go Imperium?
Anyone listens to the podcast and we're going, yeah, this is going to be my game of the year.
I'm glad you went with it. I'm glad you stuck with it, to be honest with you, because you really fucking enjoyed that. When I watched you play parts of that, you was so excited, man. Ram had a glow.
Look, look, I can move around. Look, here's my
That
blown
was
up
totally it.
spaceship. Yeah. I'm just going to get in this ship and fly down to the planet and show you the one that got blew up.
He was so excited. He was like a wee kid.
Yeah, it's nothing much, so that picks it up. So, but yeah, thanks to everybody who has joined us for this. Hope you've enjoyed our little Christmas special. Hope you're enjoying We Were Here Forever. Trust us, we don't get any better. So, enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your New Year. We'll see you again on the 2nd of December, 2nd of January, even
So we've gone back in
2025.
time.
2025, where you'll get to join us on our next podcast 258 at
Yay.
6:30 GMT ish. We may be doing games on the 1st, but as it's New Year's Day, I think I might have something on the 1st. I'll be honest with you, because I forgot about
Right, a
that.
lager.
Something like that. So there might be a game on the 1st. If there is, you'll see it on Twitch. If not, you won't see it. Check us out on twitch.tv/radnerds, youtube.com/radnerds. So from me, the Suffolk Ram,
Skazz.
have a wonderful Christmas 2024, and we'll see you in 2025. Bye, everybody.
Have fun, guys.